Okay. All right. So today we start Perek Beis, which is called Bebeir Midas Zehirus, explanation of the trait of Zehirus, which here is translated as vigilance, and the previous translation was watchfulness. But Lizaher means to be careful, right? Warning, caution. So, yeah, pardon me. So last time we left off, we read the list of the 10 steps, and we were trying to imagine what these 10 steps are. Okay, so we're going to keep that in mind. Piece of paper towel. Okay. Pardon me, it's not working out. Okay. Hine, inyan hazihirus, the matter of zihirus, hushiyo odom nizhar b'masov, right? That a person has to be careful with his actions, ubi inyonov, and his affairs, right? So there's actions, and then there's affairs. Okay, so being careful with your actions and with your affairs. What does that mean? Kloimer, that is to say, mizboinein umefakeach, you should contemplate and you should watch over al masov udrochav, on his actions and his ways. So again, there are two things. There's actions, and then so before it was actions and affairs, now it's actions and his ways. Okay, hatoivim heimim loy, meaning in other words, weigh them out to see are they good or not. Right? Levilti azov nafshu l'sakonas ha'avod, and they should not leave his nefesh, his soul, to the danger of destruction. Chas v'chalila. V'lo yelech b'mahalach hargeloi, and he should not go in the way of habit. Hergel, right? Hergel means habit. Should not go in the way of habit. Ki iver ba'afela, like a blind person in the dark. Right? So this is a famous thing, right? What does it mean, a blind person in the dark? For a blind person, it doesn't matter if he's in the dark or not. A blind person is a blind person. Okay? That is number one. Number two, so what do we say? So this is, again, the autopilot, right? Number one, this chapter is saying, do not live on autopilot, right? Autopilot, bad, right? Intentionality, good. That's step one. But intentionality, and we're coming off the first chapter. What did the first chapter tell us? The first chapter told us that there is something called chayvas ha'odam ba'olomai, that there is an obligation of a man in this world, right? An obligation is, he ended off with saying that pursue everything that brings you closer to Hashem and run away from anything that could possibly pull you away from Hashem, right? So now that you have that priority in mind, now that you built out, what's good and what's bad, you know what your goals are in this world, and he says everything, so now what's your next step? Your next logical step is zihirut. You're going to weigh out to see if the things that you are doing are fitting in with the goals that you've accomplished for you, set for yourself, right? So, right. So there's So it's not just actions, but it's also anything that relates to actions, right? Everything. Okay, fine. And what's Iver Ba'afela? So the traditional answer to Iver Ba'afela is that if a person is blind, right, but it's light, then somebody else can lead him along the way. But if a person is blind and it's also dark, then he can't even rely on anybody else. Right? That's Iver Ba'afela. Okay, so fine. Well, let's continue. He's going to elaborate on this. Right? Okay, so good. Okay. He says obviously that's a logical thing. That now that we know that a person has sense and intelligence, to save himself, and to escape from the destruction of his neshama. How could it be possible? How could it be possible that a person will close his eyes, right, and just go, that's, really, it's anybody who, so to speak, like us, who became from, that is the one thing that we have a hard time understanding. How could a person just lead a life of, what's the word? Of not, right, of never like analyzing their actions. Just like, look, it's like an animalistic existence. Тут покушать, там поспать, тут погулять. And never caring about like why, what, like never thinking and asking yourself this question: what am I doing? Why am I doing it? Right? So now that we understand, so anybody who has any kind of seichel, right? So how could he close his eyes to the burning questions of life, so to speak? There's clearly no, what's the word? No worse senselessness. Pchitut means like lowliness than this. And somebody who does this, since the truth is he's worse than the animals. And the animals. Asher betivam lishmar esatzim. The truth is those naturally protect themselves from their danger. They will escape and run away from anything that they perceive as danger. But somebody who walks in his world, right? Somebody who walks in his world, bli his boynus, right? That's why it's, by the way, hergel, right? Habit in Hebrew comes from the word regel. It's related to the word regel, right? In other words, because we walk, we don't think about, there's no intentionality when we walk. We just walk. It's one of our subconscious things. I mean, we could switch it, we could walk consciously, but it's one of those things that we do without concentration, without thinking, right? So that's why it's called hergel. It's habit. Somebody who walks in his world, bli his boynus, without contemplations, and whether his way is good or not, hinehu besuma. So therefore, he's like a blind person. Kisuma, so he's kisuma, like a blind person. Somebody who's a blind person who walks along the edge of a river. Right? It's clear that his danger is very real. And his downfall, so to speak, is very close. It's even closer than his being saved, right? He's so close to falling off that it's more likely that he will fall off as opposed to being saved. So, right, because he says, listen, all in all, lack of shmira, right, of, what's the word? Guard, a lack of guard, mipnei ha'ivaron ha'tivi, because a person is naturally blind, or mipnei ha'ivaron ha'ritzoini, or because a person is intentionally blind. In other words, he closed his eyes. The hainus timas hainayim, or closing of the eyes, bebechira bechefetz, with choice and desire. Echadu, the result is the same. Whether a person is blind because he was born blind, right, or he made himself blind, the result is the same. A person is blind, right? So the midah of watchfulness, zihirut, is basically don't be blind, right, and don't be on autopilot, right? Before doing something, find out, does this fit with your master plan? If it doesn't, stop doing it, right? Okay. Right. Okay. So this again, this is very simple. This speaks to us because this is where we are. This is where we at. Even though again, Baruch Hashem, we made our progress, right? And we're not always blind, but it's still on each and all in our levels. We all have things that we choose. Right? There are blind spots, but there are also there are plenty of things that we choose to be blind about. Okay, choose to be blind about. Okay, because we just it's whatever, right? Okay, let's continue. Yirmiyah was bemoaning